Hello, people of Hi Cookie, the internet. Welcome to another episode of Guitar Stuff. There might be a slight chance that some of you are sitting in front of this video right now with the guitars ready to play like an exercise, and this is exactly for episode 5 when I decide to just talk. Hello. I must say you guys have been doing a fantastic job so far on the Discord server. Suggesting topics, giving me ideas and feedbacks, and thank you so much. Everybody who's just joining now, please connect to the Discord server, link in the video description below here, where I provide like additional footage after these episodes, and where you also can ask further questions if something is unclear. I tried my best to take some time and answer all of these questions. And thank you so much for the suggestions that are already in there. And one caught my interest. The topic of tone. What's tone? And especially, and I love that, what does it mean when they say it's in your fingers, right? That's why I would like to make an episode about the topic of actual tone today. Tone is like food, okay? So tone is a word that you would use to describe gazillions of little different subgenres, like sub-niches. If you say, I'm eating something, you can say, I eat food. Food includes like, proteins when you're like training. It also includes like vegetarian food, vegan food, steak for those of you who eat meat, like astronaut emergency fluid food. It's all food. It's like the big title overall. So that is tone. Tone is like the big word that describes a lot of different things. Let me break it down for how I understand tone. Of course, everybody says it's in your fingers, because for me personally, I think it's the most important. It's like the biggest chunk of food is the biggest chunk of food. What did you learn this weekend? We talked about food. It's not about the size of your index finger or like how chunky is my ring finger. This is not what it means. What it means is actually how you are capable to translate emotions through your fingers into your instrument. Does that make sense? If you break down the topic, what is music? And it doesn't matter which genre we talk. Music is something that is being created by an artist that transports visions, pictures, emotions, moments, memories. All that is being transported through the outlet music to the listener, right? So if you speak about tone in your fingers, that's your emotion and your understanding of how you feel music transported through your fingers into your gear so people can listen to it. Does that make sense? Your phrasing. When I teach first steps of improvisation to my students, and I say, okay, now you, they hate it. And I remember I hated it too. When I was a little one and I was sitting in my guitar lesson, I'm like, can't you just show me what sounds great? Why do I have to go through this? Everything that I play sounds like shit. It's everybody who starts improvising, it's normal to feel that way. Nobody starts playing goes like, wow, I sound like, Gary Moore. Nobody does that. I could sound so much better if I would just play what Gary Moore did play. But here's the thing why teachers do that. You will figure out certain phrases, certain combinations of movements, whether if it's like, it feels good in your fingers, whether you go like, woo, that's actually pretty cool. And this is how you create your own thing, like your own sound, your own, signature lick. This is how you find it. You have to go through these awkward moments of like, man, I sound like crap, to get to that point of, wow, this is actually not too bad. The reason why you, for example, recognize Angus Young or Matthias Ia Eklund or, I don't know, in my case, Jeff Loomis, like, why do you recognize these players when you hear just like 2 bars of them playing and you go like, oh, sure, that's this guy? That is the tone, but the tone is also defined by the little phrases and little signature licks they play. But because they figured out what's their signature lick, their signature thing that they do. For example, my favorite example, Matthias E. Eklund. He has a very nasty, thick, mid-driven sound, and he uses all these dissonant sounds with the harmonics and all that. That's his signature sound. It's the way of playing. It's the phrasing he does. That is part of the tone as well. One of the other sections would be gear. You have to have your certain gear that you use, and that's for the recognition of your sound. Like a certain sound where you as an artist feel comfortable. Sound where you feel like at home. And all these three things I define as tone. The sound is in your fingers. It comes down to the phrasing and the actual licks you play, or the style, or the technique, or whatever. And it also comes down to what kind of gear you use. I just hit my elbow. Part 2 of this week's episode is I would like to get a little bit more into detail with the sound is in your fingers. When you first start to improvise, like I said, you're gonna feel awkward and it's gonna not sound good. Here's how I try to give my students a little helping hand when it comes to improvising. First of all, and the most important is, we guitar players tend to overplay. We play all the time. We play way too much. We don't even leave air in the middle of the melody. It's like you always have that feeling, I have to fill it up, I have to play more. And then you just have one note, you hit it, and you think like, okay, what's next? Wrong. Leave air. Let the melody breathe. Relax. Calm down. You can shred and stuff, and that's another topic. That's literally about building dynamic in like a solo. How do you start and how do you stretch a solo in like those jam sessions for like 10, 15 minutes? You can do that, but you have to relax in the beginning and just start off with just one little note. Bell. In the end, you can go like, but don't start like this, because where do you go from there when you start like that? The melody you play with the guitar is most of the time very finger-driven, meaning when you learn, let's say, this pentatonic thing, or any scale. Us guitar players used to play this block up and down. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Minor, major, heptatonic, pentatonic, doesn't matter. A melody should be singable. And if you start playing and you're like excited and nervous and you want to put music out there and you're a solo, you tend to play, I see this with a lot of my students, they tend to play like way too many jumps, like now tell me one song you know that has been in the top 10 charts of, I don't know, Billboard charts of rock, metal, where the singer sings a melody that goes like, this is not how you write a melody. A melody most of the time revolves around one note that plays up and down but never goes like right? So keep that in mind when you start improvising. It has to be like ear candy. It has to be smooth for the ear. And when you manage all of that, here comes the most important part. I like to describe it and compare it with food. Food is something we all can relate to. If you eat spaghetti bolognese, right? It consists of spaghetti, tomato sauce, a little bit of meat, and then here comes the spices. You have oregano, you have thyme, you have whatever, salt, pepper, whatever you want to use, chili, all these things, these little things that spice your food and make it the special happening all together and just like finalize this great taste bud event. That is little things when it comes compared to guitar playing. Bendings, slides, pull-offs, hammer-ons, maybe even a little bit of tapping. Stuff like that is the spices, the herbal spices that make your spaghetti bolognese a little bit more interesting. And here again, it comes down to it's a matter of taste. So some who like their spaghetti bolognese without pepper or chili flakes, but they love it with a lot of oregano. Others might go, well, I don't like the salt, I don't like the oregano, I don't like the basil, I just want to have pepper and chili flakes. So the way you combine your spices on your meal is the way you combine little things like bendings, pull-offs, legato playing, staccato playing, your flavor of spices. And that will create your very own tone. And you will figure it out. Maybe your first time spaghetti bolognese is going to be like, that was too salty. Next time you're going to add more pepper. That was too much pepper. You know, you have to figure out what's your flavor, what's your taste. I just talked to my good friend Bumblefoot, and he came up with something considering the topic tone that I didn't mention and I didn't even think about. Right hand. And he's so right about this. It all comes down to how you hold your pick, what kind of angle you use to play that affects the sound, where you're going to pick the string as well, meaning are you going to pick close to the neck, it's going to give this woo sound, or are you going to play close to the floor or the bridge, it's going to be like more gang, gang, gang. So you can play the same note, woo, gang, and have different sounds. The way you make the string vibrate while you play it, is it gonna like smack against the fretboard? That's gonna be like the slappy like chang sound, and all that kind of things that affect your tone as well. It's a combination of the left hand and the right hand, and yeah, and also what kind of pick you use. I'm using these, of course. I don't have any. Shit, I'm so here. So these guitar picks are very, very thin. But also at the same time very heavy. Like you can't bend them. I can't play with these super thin white nylon, like which you can roll between your index finger and your thumb. I can't play with those. Let me find a way to describe this. Hang on. So here, let's say this is your guitar pick, right? And it's super soft. And you have your guitar string, which is a toothbrush. Okay, so this is your guitar string. And this is your guitar pick. The guitar pick hits the string. What happens is it's gonna bend down before it actually brings the guitar string to that vibration part. Like, brrr, that's the part when the string is vibrating. Like, but it's not vibrating when you actually touch it. When I play a guitar string with my carbon heavy, unbendable guitar pick, it's more like, you know, this is now my guitar pick. It's very stiff, and this is my string. So I get the guitar pick to the string, and the second I feel the control of when I make that guitar string vibrate, it vibrates. There is nothing like this bending until it finally leaves the string. So for me, in my personal taste, I get better control of playing when I use heavy guitar picks. And I'm gonna put a picture of these on the Discord. And that is how you create your tone, in my very little humble opinion. And if you're not sure that you fully understand what I was just talking about, man, she just talked about spaghetti. I don't know what she's talking about. Ask the unicorn on Discord. Connect with the Discord channel and stay safe, sane, happy, and healthy. And I'll see you next Sunday again. Bye.